to open the Board of Commissioners special meeting, March 27th, 2026, at 5:02 p.m. Ms. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Hall,
Present.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Present.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Present. Item number 3 is prayer and pledge. Dear Lord, as we gather here today, when I have no words to say, I ask you to please speak through me. I pray for our community moving forward, that you keep us in your care and in these uncertain times. I pray that you watch over Tom and his family. I know that if you were to speak to him right now, you would say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Tom is a man of integrity. And I know he seeks you in everything he does. I know that he has been the leader and the person who has seen this city through many challenges. He's been faithful to this community and has been a good steward of their money. I just ask that you be with his children and his wife and him, and you show him what you have next for his life, and keep him in your loving arms. And I pray for our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules to allow anyone who wants to speak today to speak and not limit to 5, so that we can hear from our community and be transparent.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, if you'd like to speak today, please come to the mic, state your name and address, and that's all. And if you're already on the list, go ahead and come forward, and Ms. Jones will call the roll, call the names.
Yes, Mayor, we have 5 on the list. The first is Janet Gatewood.
Good afternoon. I'm Janet Gatewood at 7012 City Center Way, number 277. We're grateful to be here today to express our
Point of order,
support.
I'm sorry. That's not a home address. That is the address for going postal.
That is my mailbox address there. It's a legitimate and actual address here.
Yeah, as I understand the rules, we're to use our home address so we know whether we're speaking from the city or the county.
7150 Triple Crown Lane. Are you satisfied?
Thank you.
I'm grateful to be here today. I'm not happy about the time. We have so many citizens that would like to be here. 5 o'clock on a Friday is not a considerate time to set a meeting like this. It was tough for every one of us. But I'm grateful to be here to express my support for City Manager Tom Dougherty. He is a man of integrity. He stood here last week, I was here, at that meeting, and he admitted when he found out that the rules were different than what he thought, he admitted it and said and put himself out there because he wanted to be ethical with everything. But this board knew for 2 years that his son-in-law worked for another supervisor in another building. And I believe it was a group of several people that hired him. So we need to give some respect to the people that hired him in that process. I'm going to step back to my notes, but I just had to say that. At the time, the city attorney said there were options for this issue. That did not include requiring him to resign or for this board to terminate him. It appears this week that this board has determined to terminate him even if he didn't resign. Tom Dougherty loves this city and loves his staff. If you want to know how wrong this is, ask a city employee. This is not, in the opinion of many of us, a fireable offense. This board has known for 2 years. So I have questions for the city attorney. I know you can't answer me, but I'm going to ask them. How can we as citizens form an oversight board for this Board of Commissioners? 2 of them have had an agenda since their election to terminate high-ranking city employees. It's very evident if you review all past meetings to December of '24. My guess is that many people who voted them in office would change their vote after seeing how they've aggressively gone after our city employees. Another question, is there any legal way to call for the termination of these Board of Commissioners? If they violated the Sunshine Law, could we call for their termination as they have called for Tom's resignation or termination? This board was elected to represent the citizens of Fairview, and it feels if they continue to represent their own interest. I ask you, Commissioner Hall and Commissioner McDonald, to vote against this forced resignation or termination of City Manager Tom Dougherty. I know what your votes will be. My third question for the attorney is, can we have a committee of citizens who can participate in the selection of the next city manager if this board indeed requires Tom Dougherty's resignation or termination, if we can't reverse that today? Half this board has created a toxic environment for our city employees and created division in this city. Many of the city employees are afraid of losing their jobs, so they will not likely speak today. I want to thank everyone who showed up today for Tom and who are standing against this terrible decision for Fairview. My understanding also is another law might have been violated on the charter from specific boards of commissioners that have gone to city employees to discuss issues that are not under their purview. I think that we need an oversight board to investigate all of this. Thank you very much.
Next on the list, we have Karen Cobb.
Hello, Karen Cobb, 7802 Willow Crest. I am going to completely and utterly agree it's very unethical to have a meeting on Friday at 5 o'clock, knowing that people cannot get here. It's my understanding you have 12 hours, so you are within your legal rights. Otherwise, boy, let me tell you, you'd have a much bigger crowd here. Standing up for somebody who was doing his job and had integrity to actually admit it. So anyways, I want to start off by saying, firstly, very unethical to push your agenda at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. And in the last meeting, I was also here, and Tom brought an email that somebody sent him. Amazing, isn't it? Somebody threatened him in an email. Imagine that. Because they knew something. All 5 of you knew it. Who on that board possibly sent him an email? Because you 5 have known it for the last 2 years. Okay, city lawyer was sitting next to him. He brought somebody who even admitted that it's a blurry line. You, Miss Anderson, admitted it as well. You, Mr. McDonald, admitted that you had been speaking about it for the last 2 years. You've admitted that you all knew about it, and it's on record, and everybody can read it, that you all knew about it and had discussed it, was what you said, if I were to quote you. Okay, so you agreed, you admitted, the rest of you are all guilty because you all know exactly what happened. Okay, so show any wrongdoing, the assistant mayor acknowledged, okay? So we have acknowledgement for the last 2 years. This means you all, or somebody has sat on this board for the last 2 years, as I'm gonna say it again, and knew and have been withholding this information, which means that somebody's been doing it for a reason. Why it has come out now, silence is complacent. Period, plain and simple. If you accept his resignation, then the community will ask for each one of your resignations. If you turn and vote to terminate him, you better turn in your own resignation, because if not, we will start a city petition against you and we will remove you from your office. Plain and simple. And you think that people won't do that? Then you have misread Fairview by far. We also need to look at the job, first of all, and I should have started with this, the job that he has done. I do believe we were in the red when he started. Has he taken us to a place where we actually don't owe money? Is he working on one of the most important FEMA projects? If he walks away from this project, we walk away from $2 million. Who of you are going to pay this $2 million? Because it's not coming out of my taxpayer dollars. It's not coming out of any one of these people's taxpayer dollars, because we have a man right now who is built a relationship, is working with FEMA, and can get it done. He's getting all of our trees removed. So we walk away from that, you owe $2 million. I don't. And I want to make sure you understand that, because people in Fairview will know it. Because everybody in this room will tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. And it's still a small town. These people talk to each other. We all talk to each other. He does not deserve this. He did his legal due diligence responsibility. He went to legal. He brought legal with him. He had legal read it. He understood what it meant. He was honorable. I don't think he should have offered you his resignation. But that was Tom. That was what he felt he should do. But if he leaves, you guys all better turn in your resignation. Anybody who votes for him to leave. Because if you're being strong-armed to vote against him, boy, you've taken the wrong team, because your team is not going to win. And we honor and respect who our city manager was, and we are going to stand behind him, and we're not just going to have you remove him because, oh my goodness, this has got to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. You're splitting a hair and you're kind of trying to destroy a man's career. And let's just look at the job. Even if I didn't like him, I have to look at the job that he has done and say, okay, I may not like him. I do, but I'm getting to know him. But even if I didn't like him, I have to look at the money, follow the money, and he is bringing us the money. He is doing the job, and he is our city manager. And if he is not our city manager on Monday, you will have hell to answer for every person, I do believe, in this room. Because the people that are in this room, if you wouldn't have had it at Friday at 5 o'clock, you would not have sitting room in this room. People would be standing on the walls for him. I have over a dozen people that couldn't make it here today because, and let's see, we got 10 people on this room. There's 120 people right there. There's another 120 people because they all know a dozen people that would have come. So we would have had over 200, probably more. So I don't know who sent the email to him. I don't know who's on a witch hunt, but just leave. We don't want you here. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Todd Gatewood.
Todd Gatewood, 7150 Triple Crown Lane here in Fairview. I'm a citizen. First and foremost, I want to say this is a sad day for the city of Fairview. It literally is. You chastised a man who worked hard, who's a fourth-generation person that's been in this city. He's given his all. He's a good man. He's done everything. Most of the people on this board, you're from out of town. I have nothing against that. My friend just spoke to us, is from California. We've got some good people who are from out of town, and I love them. But I don't like what I'm seeing from our leaders here, or so-called leaders. You guys are not representing the people in our area whatsoever. You're not. You're representing yourselves. Most of you are probably using this as a stair step to the next thing. I would be willing to bet. If you're here to serve your city, great, but what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing real leadership whatsoever. What I'm seeing is causing dissension, problems for each and every individual, speaking out, talking behind people's back, building coalitions against others without any merit whatsoever. It's ridiculous. Absolutely. You know, no one's acting like, I've got kids out here that act better than you people do, literally. And I'm just tired of it. We're all tired of it. You know, we have to stand for something, and what you're standing for is not Fairview values. It's not Tennessee values. I've been in this state my whole entire life. You people came from different places, which I was hoping that would help, and you haven't. You're bringing your values down here and trying to change our values. That's not what this state's about. That's not what the city of Fairview is about. There's people who've lived here for generations that have worked their butts off to try to survive, and for you to come in here after Patty Carroll you're going after, Mayor Anderson, Tom, you literally are going after people who have helped build this and get us in the great shape that we're in. And it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and that's all I got to say.
Next, we have Ricky Headley.
Ricky Headley, I live at 8069 Forest Hills Drive, Spring Hill, Tennessee. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you this evening. As you just heard, I don't live in Fairview. I live in Spring Hill. I love Fairview, Tennessee. I policed the streets of Fairview, Tennessee for many, many years. I'm the former sheriff of Williamson County, and prior to being elected sheriff of Williamson County, I was the assistant police chief here in Fairview. There was a time that as an employee of the city of Fairview, we would go to out of the city, other places in the state, to conventions, and we would drop our head when we had to admit we worked for Fairview, because we were the laughingstock because of small-town politics that took place on this board. I thought Fairview had outgrown that. I truly thought Fairview had outgrown that. Tom Daugherty is a great man. He has more integrity and morals and ethics in a thumbnail than most of us have in our whole body. I have congratulated him, and I've congratulated you guys many times on how well I thought things were going in the city of Fairview and how it had outgrown the small-town politics, and Fairview was moving in the direction that it should be. Today, I'm not sure I was right about that. Thank you, Mayor.
Next, we have Joel English.
My name is Jewel English. I live at 7306 Stirrup Lane. I wasn't planning on talking, but Tom is a good man. He's got a lot of integrity. He's done a lot for this city. And what I want to understand, and I'm going to ask the lawyer this, is if you can fire Tom or make him resign, how can Buffalini's wife run for clerk of courts? That's a conflict of interest in a lot of our opinions. And then the rumor that you all want to bring back Scott Collins, what did Scott Collins do for this city? He did nothing but hurt and destroy this city and put us in the red. You all need to take a step back and look at yourself and why you're in this position. As he said, you're here for a stepping stone. I know, Mr. Buffalini, you want to run for mayor, then you want to run for senator or congressman. It's all out there. Exactly. So you guys aren't taking care of us. You're taking care of you for your agendas, and it's sad. It's sad to let a man like Tom Daugherty, for what he's done for the Boys and Girls Club, the American Legion, the high school, he's done a lot for this community. And it's sad. And as they have said, if you accept his resignation, then you all should start thinking about your own resignations. Because you've put this city at ends with each other. You've caused so much disruption in this city. It was in a really good place, and now it's gotten ugly, especially when you guys are so negative to these people in front of the city. Every BOC meeting, you guys are hard on Mayor, you're hard on Mr. Hall, you're hard on Patty, you're hard on Tom. Excuse my French, but it's bullshit. And that's not how we want our city run anymore. Thank you.
If anyone else would like to speak, please come to the mic and just state your name and address, please.
Well, my name is Lane Miller. I live at 7127 Triple Crown Lane, and I know that we had a flooding problem in our neighborhood about a year ago, and it washed out under one of our sidewalks and threatened to wash out underneath the street, the only street into and out of Triple Crown. And Tom and his crew got out there pretty quickly. They straightened it out. They plugged everything back in to support the sidewalks, and they were very nice, and they took care of that need. And I've met and talked to him several times. I've always been impressed with his knowledge and his willingness to serve the citizens of Fairview. So I don't know exactly how all this transpired. I just heard about this today, but I thought I would come and speak in his behalf. I like the gentleman, and I would like to see him continue in service of this community. So that's it. Thank you very much.
My name is Sarah Greer. I live at 5021 Bobo Court, and I'm here on my own accord, my own opinions as a citizen of the city. I know things are done, and there's nothing that can be said that will necessarily change anything, but this is a vital moment for reflection for our town. And I hope my words can bring some of that about. Before I begin, I want to be very clear that I have nothing against anyone who's recently moved here. I found the best of friends and people who now choose to call Fairview home, and I hope my words aren't twisted into something that it's not. This actually isn't the first time I've stood before this board. When I was 17 years old, I petitioned for our family land to be rezoned to agricultural purposes. We lived on 6 acres on Cumberland Drive and on the outskirts of town, and I just wanted to raise some animals for our FFA project my senior year of high school. The board denied my request with no legal grounds, which I'm now aware of, considering who I know. But it's heartwarming that this board, though very different, is still carrying on with the age-old tradition of making a couple questionable decisions. If you've met me in the last 5 years, you probably know me as someone who always has a baby on her hip, flour up to my elbows. There's a stigma that comes with people like me, a homemaker. So I'd be remiss if I didn't try to gain some credibility from the board about who I've been. I graduated from Fairview High School in 2012 at the very top of my class. UT paid me to get my bachelor's degree and then my master's. I went back for another bachelor's soon after. I had a career, I was good at it. I'm published in several academic journals, and I have a leather-bound thesis floating around somewhere, and that was dedicated to Grady Givens, who I'm sure only a couple of you even know who that is. I work for a local college. I run a small business that I created in a spare bedroom of our home while raising 4 kids under the age of 6. It's due to do about $70,000 in revenue this year. I am a product of the people who made Fairview. You see, I'm not from here. I moved here when I was 10 years old. I'm not from here, but I grew up here. And I wanted to be from here so bad that I married someone from here, so now my children are from here. This designation of being from here remains for those who can trace their ancestors back through generations that chose to call Fairview home. Do any of you know the names of your great-great-great-grandfathers? Because people from here do. They built this town through generations of blood, sweat, and tears. They donated land, they volunteered for everything, and I was a recipient of that dedication, and so is everybody who sits on this board. People like Tom Daugherty are from here. They formed the rec associations, they volunteered for everything, they were always at the schools. They poured their resources into a town that was not a popular place to live. We are Williamson County, but we are nothing like the rest of the county. We never have been. The place, they made it a place that attracted other people like you to move here. I'd like to gently remind the board of what attracted you to Fairview when you were looking to relocate. The things that make Fairview so special were laid on the backs of generations of people who stuck around despite Fairview's shortcomings. When it wasn't cool to live here, they stayed. When we got shiny new textbooks at school that had funny little stamps that said property of Brentwood High School, they kept going. They chose to raise their families here where there were no jobs, no attractions, no businesses, and they brought all those things here. Listen to the people who built this town. Listen to all the changes that they've seen. I know this job wasn't about a popularity contest. Who's lived here the longest doesn't automatically make someone qualified to run a city. But Tom took the reins of a town that he loved and did the best anyone has ever done with it. We've forgotten so quickly about the despair that the city was in before Tom. You say the city looks good, we have a couple blips coming up. Why do we need Tom? Because Tom pulled us out of the trenches before some of us even moved here. What this board has done to Tom is heartbreaking. I've watched a man I respected my entire life being ripped apart on Facebook Live. Demeaning tones, moving targets, lines of questioning that didn't always seem fair. We all know that there's hiding behind this resignation on a technicality that everyone knew about. Anyone who's been watching these meetings knows the full picture. So in this volatile time, I'm not here to reprimand anybody, but to ask that we step into a time of reflection. We're about to spend a lot of precious taxpayer money on a search committee for a new city manager who might stick around for a year, maybe 2, maybe 3, and then we're gonna be here again. So take a moment to truly reflect. Was your ego at play? Did you have an agenda that just didn't include Mr. Tom? Did you even take time to learn to pronounce Daugherty correctly? Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
My name is Ray Mikhail. I live on 7129 New Hope Road here in Fairview. I've been part of the community for the last 20 years. I own and operate Jingo Market. A couple weeks ago, I had an issue that happened in the city, and I approached Mr. Tom about it. He took the time, listened to me, and actually visited my store down here in Jingo Market, addressed my concern, and we had plans to take it a step further. Unfortunately, this has happened, and I didn't know about it till yesterday. To me, I moved from Philadelphia, so I'm not from Fairview, but I became to love Fairview and became part of the community for the last 20 years. I grew my family here. I have a 13-year-old, and we love this place. We hate to see things happening this way. From being in business for 26 years, I can tell you this, when somebody comes and approaches me about a problem and they self-reported, that means the world to me. To acknowledge that, hey, I misinterpreted the policy. I'm not a lawyer, but there's as I heard before, there's the law and there's the spirit of the law. So when somebody said, well, I misunderstood this part, doesn't mean that we need to crucify him. But as far as I know, he's been doing a great job and took the time to come and visit my store and address the problem that I had, which we're still continuing to do. But unfortunately, this happened a couple of days ago. So I would advise you to speak to the people of Fairview to hear the concerns we have. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Point of order, I'm sorry, this just isn't part of the agenda. We're not allowed to speak back.
All right, item number 5, new business. Item 5A, Resolution 17-26, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, accepting the resignation of City Manager Thomas J. Daugherty, effective March 27th, 2026, and expressing appreciation for his service. Mr. Hall?
I too heard every word y'all said, and the one option that wasn't presented to me with his phone calls was an option to suspend Tom for this policy, to maybe suspend him for a couple of weeks, maybe without pay, something like that. That option was not presented to me. The option that was presented to me was that by Wednesday, if he didn't resign, there was going to be on the agenda to terminate Tom. In my heart, there's no way I could have ever voted to terminate Tom. I hired him. I hired him one time as interim city manager, and then I hired him as a city manager 3 times. This guy is part of my heart. Always will be. And I knew tonight when I come, there's no way I'm supporting this either. So he did help bring this city back on a firm footing. John Blade's a good friend of mine. He would attest to that. He called me last night, worried about me. I said, don't worry about me. Let's worry about the man that's got the biggest heart of Fairview, and that's Tom Daugherty. Amen. The board can do what they want to, but I cannot support. Anyway, I've talked to Tom today. I've begged him to rescind his resignation. That would be up to him and the board to accept it if he rescinded it. I hate this day has come, but that's my opinion, and that's, you've got a no vote from me right now.
I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so now we will have discussion. We have a first and a second, so we'll have discussion from the board.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you. There is absolutely nothing easy about serving. There's absolutely nothing easy about today. I am absolutely not attempting to make any statements that I think would change minds and hearts of people who are truly persuaded in one direction. So for anybody who would be willing to listen, I think there are some things that this board could say. You don't know me. You haven't known me forever. I haven't lived here forever. I have absolutely no political agenda beyond this seat that I hold right now. I don't even want to run for mayor. I'm a person who lives in Fairview, who was encouraged to run because I love this city, because what is here is special. I represent a lot of people in this city. Some of the things that were brought to my attention when I decided to run and things that have been brought to my attention since are what have caused the concern and the questioning that to a lot of people looks unfair, but to me, I'm doing the job I was elected to do. This is a board of 5, it's a 20%. So I might persuade people and I might not. I've said consistently, and I will say again and again, there's nothing personal in any of this. I don't have joy about this. I know Mr. Daugherty is a very likable man. I don't want to say anything negative about him. What I will say, now that I have an opportunity to speak for myself, and I hope that you all listen, is that there were other things that are concerns. His resignation wasn't some excuse. It's not coercion. We have had a year and a half since I was elected of meetings and conversations that were just between us where we've tried to figure things out. And it wasn't working. This is not about going after somebody. This is not about harming the city. I understand people are hurting. This is about doing what I truly think is the better thing for the city with some concerns that I have after being on this board. I know it's not a popular choice for some people, but I also want you to know that there are a lot of people who have reached out to me and who have supported me this entire time. And if I can just let you ask yourselves why they don't feel comfortable coming up and speaking. Because there is something very, very wrong. When you hear just one side, you should always question why. And I'm being vilified for supporting this. And I'm telling you, and I've told you in these meetings with the questioning, you see it as badgering. I can't get answers. That's not badgering. I'm trying to represent you. I want to know where your tax dollars are going, and I can't answer those questions. So there are many things that are sitting out there, and if you do go back and look at meetings, and please do, you may not like the way I present the questions, and you may not like me, and that's okay, but understand I was representing the city as best I could. And you may not have voted for me, and you may not vote for me if I were to run again, and that's okay. We don't all have to agree. But there are some things that are being said that are simply untrue. There's no cabal. I am a very solitary person. I talk to people, but I do a lot of research. I listen to old meetings on my commute. That is about as exciting as I am, and there's just nothing there. To have people say that the rumors, there are rumors. That's all they are, is rumors. My number is posted online. My email's posted. I'm happy to talk to people. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to understand that there are definitely more than one angle to approach this. And if you've never spoken with me, then you don't know really where I'm coming from. But I know my city is watching. I know my friends are watching. I know my church is watching. My daughter could go and look at this and watch, and my God is watching. And I'm not doing what I think is wrong, and I do not want to hurt anybody. And one final thing, because we don't have roundtable at the end. If a person tenders their resignation, I want you to ask, really, what do we do then? What do we do? Well, I understand. I understand, but remember there are multiple angles that we're looking at. And please go back and look at past meetings. Our next agenda item is about an interim city manager. So I think I've said what I wanted to say. I hear everybody, but there are plenty of other people who have reached out to me. And you really should ask why they don't feel comfortable coming in here and speaking. Well, okay, and let me address the Friday at 5 o'clock for a moment. Friday at 5 o'clock is because Mr. Doherty's term ended at 5 o'clock on Friday. And it was pretty important to have continuity of leadership. And that's organizationally a very good thing to do. That's all I have to say.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, if I may.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
There's a lot that was just said by Commissioner Roberts that I completely agree with. I'm looking out into this room and I can see a lot of passionate people that believe what you believe, and that's perfectly acceptable. I don't believe I've heard from any of you as far as wanting to have a conversation to hear where we're coming from, why we feel the way we feel. I've known Tom for, I don't know, 8 years or something like that. I considered him a friend. There's this odd thing going on that it's all or nothing. When you get into city government, whether it's an elected position or you take a position that is controlled by an elected body, you understand that it's going to be an interesting ride. I have had one-on-one meetings with Tom and expressed concerns and my opinions, and we've had very good conversations. I've shed tears. I wiped tears out of my eyes when I was talking to him about these things. There is nothing about this that's fun, that's enjoyable. There is no, we finally got him. I mean, it's just not the case. If you've watched city meetings for any period of time, you can see that every single meeting is a carousel. It's the same meeting over and over. More stuff comes to light, stuff falls off, more stuff comes on. It's just a never-ending Groundhog Day. I think when a resignation is submitted, you have to take that serious. You ask yourself, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I would never turn a resignation in unless I felt that I had done something to the point that should require me being removed from my job. We had MTAS, which is the state body that assists governments in the state, and they concurred that he violated his policy. So it's not our opinion. It's not a witch hunt. And to go back to, I've known Tom for a long time. I don't see the point in running, because I agree with you all. I think there's Tom Doherty, the city manager, and there's Tom Doherty, the human being. And as a human being, you're right. He's salt of the earth. He's a great man. I've had so many lengthy conversations with him completely unrelated to this city. After city meetings, I look forward to sitting here afterwards so I can just catch up with him, laugh, talk about things. Unfortunately, we're in positions where we have to be able to separate those two things. Many good people get removed from their jobs all the time. Simply being a good person does not make you invincible to accountability, scrutiny. It's unfortunate, and I have reasons. I'd be happy to speak with anybody. I'm sorry? Correct. And to that point, I'm not going to sit here and play question and answer with everybody, but it was discussed, you're right. And I'm only as good as the information I know. So when I ask questions and I get answers, that's what my position is built off of. I didn't have an agenda to remove Tom. If I would have done that, I would have done it 2 years ago. There is no doubt that since the election, you all just said it. If my agenda was to remove Tom, I could have done it the second the election ended. According to MTAS and Tom Doherty himself, it is. To the point, someone made a comment about, I'm assuming it is directed at me. So as an elected official, I find out that our city manager is resigning. I believe it is part of my responsibility to do everything I can to try to identify who is going to fill that gap. Simply reaching out and asking individuals that are employees of this city, if not telling them, hey, by the way, this is what's going to happen to you, having a conversation, treating people with respect and humanity, and asking, are you interested in this if it came up? I don't want to present somebody to you just so they have to stand up in the public and say, I'm not interested in it. What's the point of that? It's perfectly within my right to have a conversation with anyone I want to have a conversation with. I'm not asking them to do anything. I'm just asking their opinion. Where are you at as a person? How do you feel about this? Would you be interested in it? Does this make you nervous? And I'm not going to share private conversations that I had with people, but what you are all hearing is a very interesting web of lies. You know, I think this area of the country is a pretty conservative one, and I'm sure we all have probably a pretty similar viewpoint on mainstream media. You are being gaslit, and I'm not going to go into it further because I don't see the reason to drag a good man's name through the mud for no reason at all, out of respect for him. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
Mayor?
Mr. Buffalini.
Thank you. Just looking, I've been in this position for a year and a half now, and this is one of the hardest decisions I personally had to make. This has been out there. It was made public. The mayor made it public on social media as well. And it's been out there for, since last Thursday. And no one has picked up the phone to call me, and everyone knows that I am very reachable. I am very reachable. Not one person picked up the phone to call me, whether you're for or against this instance. Especially the seven people that spoke here this evening. Not one of you have called me to express your feelings. I have gotten 2 phone calls from current city employees, and I'm not even going to say what department or any part of what they work at. One is for and one was against. So when everyone says and thinks that everyone is against this situation, it's not true. I took the day today, and after an appointment that I had early this morning, a doctor's appointment, I went to the departments, and I sat and I spoke with some of the departments. I did not get up to City Hall. That's the one place I didn't have the opportunity to get up to. but I spent time with some of the departments, and I know that there's been rumors going around that we're going to invite someone else back. In my opinion, that's not furthest from the truth. I mean, that's not my intention. I can promise you that. I think that things that happened here in the past is one of the reasons why I ran for this seat. Trying to do the right thing, trying to lead by example. Since the day I moved into this town, actually before we even built our house here, I've been volunteering and doing things around our community, and my heart is here. It's here in Fairview, and I promise you that. Do I have goals and aspirations in life? We all do. We all have goals and aspirations in life. Do I want to run for Senate or no. That's not, I'm not that person. I have lots of friends. I go to a lot of events. I network so that I'm able to call people and rely on people and help people and get answers from people when I need assistance, like this situation that we're going through right now. I was able to call other cities, other mayors, other board members, and they were able to assist me in my decisions up here tonight. And they're also able to help me with other decisions. My networking, I do that for the city of Fairview, whether you believe it or not. That's how our economic development officer is in her position, because she networked and she did a good job with that. She built a good following. She's able to make phone calls to governors, to Congress, to senators. She's able to do that, and I want to have that opportunity to be able to do that for our city. I ran for this position. I made an oath to uphold the charters, the Constitution of the state, and the Constitution of the United States. I'm going to go by what is recommended to me by attorneys, not necessarily a city attorney, but I've reached out to other attorneys as well, 2 other attorneys, for advice. And this is not an easy decision for our city. But I also want to say that there are a lot of things that I can't say certain things. So I just want to refrain from saying that. I'm done talking. I'm sorry.
Before I begin, does anyone else on the board have anything to say? Okay. This is for Mr. Carter. What is the rule on when we have to have a meeting like this after a resignation and then appointing of an interim?
This is a special called meeting. Special called meetings can be called by the mayor, the city manager, or any 2 commissioners.
Well, I meant, what is the rule of when it has to be called? Did it have to be at 5 o'clock today is what I'm asking.
It has to be called so if there's 2 commissioners that ask for the meeting and there's going to be a quorum, then the meeting would be called. But
what is the rule, though? What is the rule? We
that
get a
is the rule.
resignation, and how long do we have to have this meeting?
If the meeting hadn't been asked for, there wouldn't have been a meeting today.
Well, I think I heard a comment that because Tom's last day and hour was 5 o'clock, that this meeting today, it had to be today. That's what I'm asking.
I think that's an opinion in good governance.
Okay, so we didn't have to have this meeting at 5 o'clock on a Friday.
We could have gone without a city manager for an indefinite period of time, although under state law, the duty of this board is to appoint an interim city manager. There's not a timetable associated with it.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. So I'll just state right now, I guess everybody knows, I don't have a poker face. I'm totally against this. So I'll just state that right now. About the 5 p.m., so at a meeting we had last Thursday, it was being discussed about when we were going to have a special called meeting for discussing, I think, about, finances on how to get the rest of the, the park done or the rest of the limbs taken up. And at that time, I mentioned that, we were trying to figure out dates. I mentioned that my daughter had a very important, and I may not have mentioned the exact thing, but I said I could not be here until Monday or Tuesday because my daughter had a very important award that she was being given tonight. And I get that, like, the play for Little Mermaids tonight, and I believe there are people who want to be at that. So I was not supposed to be here today. But instead of being at my daughter's awards, I chose to be here because that's how much Tom means to me. And my daughter accepting this very prestigious award for her medical service and life-saving, I'm not going to be able to be there because I chose to be here. I had already put out that I'd already said in the meeting that I could not be here for that meeting. I could not schedule something until Monday or Tuesday. So when the email went out that it was going to be at 5 o'clock on a Friday, that was not my decision because I wasn't going to be able to be here anyway. So it went out when I happened to be at work. I didn't see the email for 2 hours because I was at Going Postal helping customers, and we're really busy there. So I don't read my emails like, just every hour, every half hour. But when I saw the email, I reached out and questioned why was I not even made aware that this was at 5 o'clock on Friday. So I guess my daughter's award didn't matter. I was not consulted. And I agree with the ones who said that I guarantee you, if it wasn't 5 o'clock on a Friday, this whole entire room would be full. And I do disagree with the fact that people are scared to come because let me tell you something. When we have a development that's coming in and these people are against that development, they're not afraid of us. They fill this room. And there's commissioners up here that those people are their people and they fill this room. They do not care. They come and speak in front of us, and they tell us exactly how they feel. So let's say, if those people really didn't want Mr. Daugherty to accept his resignation, I don't see that they wouldn't be here today. Everyone I've heard speak today is against this. I've not heard one person here today say that they are for it. And just like I said, if anybody was for this, they're not afraid to be here because they're not afraid to be here when we have a subdivision that they're against. So I don't buy that. Mr. Carter, did MTAS say that we had options, or did they say that we had to terminate him for this?
I didn't call MTAS. Mr. Daugherty called MTAS. And I'm the one at the meeting that said that there were options, despite what Mr. Hall said, and several citizens alluded to my comments, that there was an array of things the BOC could do.
So I've been with Mr. Daugherty, speaking to him for the past several days, and I'm going to dispel a rumor. He didn't just up and resign. It was told to him that if by Wednesday morning he didn't resign, that it was going to be put on the agenda to terminate him. So I don't want anybody to believe that, oh, we're just accepting a resignation, because that didn't happen.
Options are,
Point of order, Mayor. There's been public comment. It is really out of order for the public to be going back and forth, and it doesn't lead to a good meeting. And if the
Okay,
board
so-
wants to suspend the rules, then the board can suspend the rules, but we should be doing it properly.
So just let me speak and let me speak. So you did give us a list of options that we could do. Could you just go over those?
The board could waive, I believe I said that the board could waive the conflict. I believe that was one of them. I believe the board could censure him somehow by resolution. The board could take him out of work for a day or a week or more, all the way up to termination. I believe those were the options that I stated during the meeting.
Okay, so.
And those were the options, incidentally, or coincidentally, those were also the options that Tom related to me from MTAS when he called MTAS. And so he was asking my opinion, and it turns out I had the same opinion that MTAS did, which is always a good thing.
Thank you. So when Devin Halliburton was hired, the policy was interpreted that since Ethan Greer was going to be his supervisor, that it was okay for him to be hired. And so he was hired. He's in a different building than here. I know that, and he is supervised by Ethan Greer. So when this anonymous email came out, and I'll say it again, whoever sends an email like this that doesn't put their name on it, I believe they're a coward, and I'll just say it again. When this anonymous email came out, and Tom realized it, he reached out to MTAS. He found out that the policy was misinterpreted, and he self-reported at the last BOC meeting. We had options of what we could do. But when the option of you resign or it's going to be put on the agenda for you to be terminated came up, and then he found out that there were enough board members to terminate him, he decided that after prayer, and I've spoken with him, so I know this personally, and talking to his family, that he felt like he was not going to be supported if he tried to stay. And I mean, who wants to be in a position where they have to put up with what he's had to put up with? I'll just say that. Back 3.5 years ago, when I became mayor and Tom was hired as city manager, there was a lot that we had to go through to get this city in the position and the shape it is today. It was not in good shape. And the board at the time and Tom and I worked very hard to get this city in a place where we've got businesses who want to be here, 2 healthcare facilities that are fighting over us. I mean, I've lived here over 30 years and I've never seen it like that. People want to live here. People love this community. And I have worked with 5 city managers. I've never seen a city manager with as much integrity and honesty and hard working. That this man is here early before work and late after work, making sure this community is taken care of and your tax dollars are spent right and a good steward of your money. He felt like he had no other choice than to turn in his resignation after all of this. So I've heard everything that everybody said today, and I agree with every one of you. Thank you.
Mayor,
Commissioner Roberts.
thank you. I want you to understand what the policy is. This is the plain language of the policy. And the policy is that it is any employee who is in the direct line or in the line of supervision. It's incredibly clear. It's a clear policy. And it was a violation. And there have been other violations. But I want to address some things. You can say anything you want when you're up here. And it's really hard to challenge that. But there are some things that I just want to say because, folks, I am one of you. I love my staff. I love my team. I'm a person of integrity. I live in Fairview. I love this place. Now, you don't agree with me on everything, and that's fine. But I talk to people also. And it's incredible how very different the narrative is that I get from other people. And I have been told that if we don't do what we should do, then we lose all of our credibility. So let me just put some things to you in a different light. I see some quizzical looks on your faces, so let's just walk down this road just a little bit. If you know that somebody is violating a policy and it's been brought out into a meeting, and then you can say there are probably a lot of other policies that have also been violated, and so you know this is happening. There's no recommendation to remediate it. It will continue. It does actually cause problems with leading the city. What are you supposed to do? There could have been conversations about remediating it, and sure, we could have done all sorts of things. But like I've said before, there are other issues as well. But beyond that, there are issues that other people have brought to me, and I'll tell you that I'm very careful about what I say because I don't want anybody to face any repercussions. So I'm not making stuff up when I say that people really will not get up here and speak. And there are stories about staff who were let go. And they were let go because somebody told Mr. Doherty to let them go. We have a problem. What Vice Mayor McDonald said is not an untruth. And there is a reason why it is worth my time to be here. I'm getting nothing out of this. My hourly pay on this is very low. I'm tired. There are people in the city who now hate me for a decision that I'm making. I am absolutely convicted about helping people have a quality of life at work, about this city being run with integrity. I don't hurt people beyond the actions that I have to take. I am not throwing extra barbs, and I am not going to accuse people and to be ugly. But there is one narrative that gets said over and over and over again, and everyone is afraid to state the alternative, a different truth or the truth about how things are happening. People are afraid to speak. There are heavy repercussions. Take things to Facebook, get the city incensed against everybody. One side of the story is told. What I will not do is get on social media and try to defend myself. Again, if you'd like to speak to me, then please speak to me. And I am okay with people disagreeing with me. I think that's a beautiful thing. It is what makes organizations run. But I am not okay with untruths. I am not okay with false narratives. I am not okay with people misstating and twisting what my words are. I would never hold a meeting in an attempt to hold people back. What I was doing was demonstrating organizational structure. And you may not agree with it. You may think that people could be here, and I get it, and I'm very sorry that that's the perception. But I'm not getting anything out of this other than trying to do my very best to lead this city.
Mayor,
Commissioner Buffalini.
I want to just echo what Commissioner Roberts has been saying, and also the policies are clear. I've read it, reread it, and read it 3-4 times, and have been tossing and turning and losing sleep about a lot of things. But there are certain things that we have chosen to do as a board or as individuals to run for a position and dedicate our time. We all miss things. Emergencies come up. We understand. And I'm sorry that you're missing your daughter's thing, because you know my kids are everything to me as well. But I will not sit here or have any of the employees be bullied and be told what they should and should not feel. I think it's gross. I think it's disgusting. And I'm sick and tired of it. This has been happening for way too long. One of the reasons why I was elected and why some of the other people were elected on this board, especially through our last campaign, is because they're tired of the good old boy system. And I am clear and I am adamant about it, and I will put it out there, and everyone knows me. Whoever's spoken to me knows and understands that I am very clear about a lot of things. So if you want to get up here and talk at that microphone and berate us and do what you want, that's fine. But you know what? There are 7 people that spoke here tonight out of a city of 10,000. Doesn't matter what time. Most cities hold their meetings during the day. How about that? City of Fairview is one of the only cities that hold their meetings at night. Okay? So, but I will not have our employees bullied or have people coming up here to City Hall or to any place else and bully and say things that they should not be saying. I don't think that a proper leader should get on Facebook and start posting things and in writing, inciting things. What was done here was wrong. We are trying to move forward as a board, as a community, as leadership. We were elected to be leaders. And what happened this past week is wrong.
What's happening now is wrong.
What's happening is wrong. It should.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
We cannot conduct a meeting, a proper meeting under the law, when the audience is speaking. And I would implore the mayor, the chair, to direct the audience to keep their comments to themselves at this point, so everyone can be heard.
Please keep your comments to yourself so everyone can be heard. Go ahead.
That's just some of the things that I'm discussing right there. The acts of proper leadership does not handle things like that. You were elected as a mayor. You should be running this meeting properly and taking control of it instead of sitting there and letting everything happen the way it is. I'm done. Thank you.
Sir, I would love to hear what you have to say, but we can't do it at this time, okay? Any other comments from the board? Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Nay.
Mayor Anderson.
Nay. Item 5A passes 3-2. Item 5B, Resolution 18-26, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, designating an interim city manager pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated 6-21-107B and 6-20-205A, defining the scope of authority, duties, and compensation of the interim city manager, and directing the initiation of a search for a permanent city manager.
Motion to approve.
Second. Mayor, if I may.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
It has been, I'm just going to put it out there. I doubt very many in this room care to hear me say it, but it has been a very difficult week. It is a very, very long week. Quite possibly one of the busiest weeks that I can remember for me, between just personal stuff and this. I have had more conversations than I can count. Very few of them have anything to do with current city employees. Very many of them were reaching out to different entities, different firms, different people, different city leaders, all asking if they could provide me a list of individuals that could be considered for this. It's very interesting, the conversations that we've had tonight about I will say that there's a theme amongst most people that had the education to do the job, time availability to do the job, and the willingness to do it. A large percentage of those people all said no for one particular reason. There is an individual, he asked his name stay out of the conversation tonight as he is doing his own due diligence to decide if he is interested or not. This person is very, very good at what they do. And I look forward to allowing them to go through their own personal process that they need to go through to decide if they want to take this on or not. I pray for the city's sake that they are interested in it and that they go forward. I believe it will be a fantastic opportunity for us to bridge the gap to finding a permanent person. I want to dispel for the, I don't know, 50 plus time this week. I have no desire to see Scott Collins back in this building. It is unfortunate, the situation we find ourselves in. However, it is an opportunity to move forward, not backwards. We have the opportunity to hopefully have a great interim that would allow us to do a proper nationwide search for someone that is qualified and educated to be the next city manager of this community. Those are my intentions. If you hear any differently, they are nothing but lies, rumors, and people trying to stir pots. If you have questions about what I'm thinking or the process that I'm going through, or just want to pick my brain on where I'm at, I welcome anyone and everyone to call me. If you hear somebody tell you, Chris is going to do this, Chris is going to do that, my request to you all is the next thing you do is you call me and you ask me if that's what my plan is. You ask anyone who knows me. I'm not a liar. If I lie to you, it was unintentional. I will tell you exactly where I'm at. As of tonight, I do not have anybody to nominate for this position. As I stated, the individual is asking to have an opportunity to meet with department heads and just pick their brain and ask them questions and decide if they're interested in it or not. But I hope sooner than later that, and they understand that we're up against a clock and we need that decision sooner than later. So I don't believe it should take very long to get an answer. That's all I have. Unfortunately, there is no cabal or outside conversations where we're planning and putting all this together. So I have absolutely no idea if one of the other 4 commissioners up here have someone to nominate. They very well might. I look forward to hearing it if they do. But that is where I am at, and that's all I can speak to.
Mayor?
Commissioner Buffalini?
Thank you. The individual that I've been in contact with, and I will be very transparent, is the same individual that Vice Mayor McDonald is discussing about. Vice Mayor McDonald and I have not been in contact with each other about this. Everything went through proper channels, through our attorney, Patrick Carter. An email went out from Patrick Carter introducing that to this board as well. This individual that is, God willing, choosing to come here as an interim until we find our permanent option has a resume that would blow anybody away in this country just about. This individual is willing to come out of retirement, and I can't say enough about him. And this came about through proper networking, through knowing other people in our Williamson County. And God willing, I hope that this individual, like I said, after sitting with our department heads, will take the reins of our city and run it the right direction. Our city is in a good position. I don't want anybody and any staff members or anything like that thinking that any budgets are being cut on existing departments or anything like that, but we are going through budget season. So this is a very sensitive time that we're going through. This individual understands that and will assist us with that. I have all the confidence in the world in our, in Ben Knox. I have all the confidence in the world of our police chief, our fire chief, our planning director, our public works director, our parks director, that they will maintain order in their departments. I have I'm very confident of it in our courts. And I'm comfortable knowing that they're going to be doing the right job for our city. They're hired in that position, and they're in that position because they choose to be in that position, not because of a relative or anything else. So with that being said, I don't have a nominee this evening to nominate as our interim until, I'm hoping, our next board meeting next Thursday.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you. I also don't have a nomination. I spoke with every department head I could get in touch with, and I've also been reaching out to other staff to just check in and see how things are going. I am confident that the department heads are leading with calm and confidence. They've been through change. We all know that change is disruptive, but it also is not permanent. So everyone is just getting through what they're doing and doing the best that they can. I also have asked several people in the city if they would be willing to, and in the city staff, if they would be willing to step in as the interim, and nobody wants to take that on. So I spoke with the same person after Mr. Carter sent the email out to us. I also spoke with him, and what I want to convey is that we are looking at a great candidate. I hope that he thinks that we're a great place for him to go as well, and that the search is still not over, though. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'll continue reaching out and seeing if we can find someone as well, because we can't put all of our eggs in one basket. I do have a question for Mr. Carter. Part of this resolution is directing the initiation of a search for a permanent city manager. So while the focal point has been on the interim position for the majority of this conversation, I'd like to ask when we could start the search initiation. Do we need to have a interim in place, or do we need to pass the resolution, then to pass the whole thing to initiate the search?
The way I see it, and the way this has been done in other cities that I've worked in that have had similar situations, typically that is led by the interim city manager. There's several different options. Once we identify the interim city manager and they've accepted, I would anticipate working with that person. If it's the person that I'm aware of has some interest and that most of you have spoken with, he will know the company that conducts these searches for cities. It'd be the same company that recently did Brentwood's and did Spring Hills, and they've worked across the state of Tennessee. Very reputable. They have a network of, it would be beyond just Middle Tennessee or Tennessee. It'd be a national sort of search, and they bring candidates to you all and have processes to get the strongest candidates and narrow them down. But to your exact question, that would really be something the interim city manager would work on. It would be one of their duties in addition to being support for the different department heads, such as budget and other priorities of the city.
Thank you. And just to address that search, and I'm sure there'll be more conversation about it when we get to that, but we will open a large search, I'm sure. And somebody raised a question before, I believe it was Ms. Gatewood, about including citizens. And I think that's an excellent idea. It's something that I was kind of thinking about as well. And I am sure there will be a lot of interest in that.
Typically, the way those searches are conducted, when they're conducted properly, like the ones I've been involved in, do have a public facing component where there's meet and greets and there's various committees put together in the city, and some of them will involve citizens and be citizen-led. Certainly, I think that is an important part of this, because the city manager is the CEO of the city, so to speak, and they're very public-facing, and that's very important. And so I don't think Fairview in the past has conducted a search like we're contemplating, and I want the citizens to know their input will be an important part of what transpires.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that guidance, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just a quick question, Mayor.
Vice Mayor McDonald.
For Mr. Carter, if we don't have, would the proper thing to do just to be defer this item until next scheduled business meeting?
I would
BOC
defer
meeting?
this item until next Thursday and have it added to the agenda.
I'll let the mayor comment before I make that motion.
I have no comment.
Motion to defer resolution 18-26 to Thursday, April 2nd.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
No. Item 5B passes for deferment to the next meeting, 4-1. Item number 6, I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.